This is Pioneer Public, a segment where we introduce the most interesting people on campus to their community. The Globe's Carly Bonk has this profile.
Hey Point Park, I'm Carly Bonk, co-features editor for The Globe, and this is Pioneer Public. I'm joined in studio today by Senior Biological Science major and United Student Government's Recording Secretary, Shaniece Lawrence. Thank you so much for joining us today, Shaniece.
It's nice being here.
And you're originally from New York City, correct? Brooklyn?
Mm-hmm.
And what was that like growing up in a big city?
Well, I also moved to Queens this past May, but growing up in a big city, as I said, is you actually kind of become more of an adult as you're growing up, unfortunately, as a child, because you do get into adult situations.
Mm-hmm. And why did you decide on Point Park?
So my junior year of high school, I was searching up schools, because that's like kind of the big year where you have to actually figure out what you're going to do after high school, where you're going to go. And I looked up places that had biological science program, but I also wanted to go to a city kind of like area, like back home, so I would be kind of more comfortable and not completely submerged into a new kind of area.
Mm-hmm. And why did you decide on biological sciences?
So my senior year, I took an AP biology course, and it was amazing. Like, when I tell you I actually enjoyed it, I enjoyed it for the simple fact that it incorporates so much, but I really enjoyed actually like the human body, because I find it fascinating how the body works to actually keep itself alive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really amazing.
It really is. And you're planning on going into pediatrics, correct?
Yes, I am. I changed my career path my sophomore year. You know how when you're younger and you're like, I'm going to change the world, I'm going to make a difference. Mm-hmm. And you know how as you get older, that thought kind of just leaves your mind. Well, sophomore year, I kind of had this revelation where I'm just like, I really would like to make a difference. I want to help people. And so that's how I changed my career path to being a doctor. And then when I joined Strong Women, Strong Girls that year as well, it actually kind of showed me that I enjoy working with children. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, if I can be a doctor and work with children, then that would be like the best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm. And tell us a little bit more about your involvement with Strong Women, Strong Girls. What do you do with that organization?
So we actually go around to Pittsburgh elementary schools, and we actually mentor sometimes a huge group of young girls, and we empower them and we tell them all the wonderful women that are actually making differences in the world, and that it shows them that it doesn't matter that you're a girl, you can do anything and everything that your heart desires, and never let anyone tell you anything different.
That sounds really empowering. And you've also done a lot of work with USG, correct?
Yes.
Throughout the years. What does your work as a recording secretary involve?
So basically, I am the note taker. So I take down everything that is actually happening within the exec cabinet meetings and legislative body meetings and any other meetings outside of those two. But I also keep records of attendance, which includes committee, like senators attending their committees, executive cabinet members attending the meetings, senators actually attending the legislative body meetings. And I also do motion voting records. I keep those as well, and it's basically me typing up every motion that has been made and checking off who said yes, who said no, who was absent, who abstained.
And how would you say that work has helped you in your field specifically?
So it necessarily didn't help me in my field, but it kind of helps me become more of a round person, because that's what they also want you to be, like when you're actually applying for medical school, a well-rounded person. So don't just be only focused on science, science, science. But if you can actually want to go out and play an instrument, play an instrument. If you want to work in the business field, work in the business field. If you want to work in the political science area, do that, because you can also gain great experience from doing that. And it basically, like USG as a whole, kind of showed me like what I can do and what it kind of entails actually being in like a government setting.
Yeah. And speaking of being a well-rounded person, you also have a few interesting hobbies. You like to paint pottery, correct?
Yes.
And how long have you been doing that?
So I've been doing it for about 2 years now. It started when my dad, like we always go to, well, we try to go to the Poconos almost every year. It's kind of like a family tradition. And we wanted to do something different because at this point we're older, so we just don't want to just go to the pool, play golf, run around, stuff like that. And so we were he was looking in this little pamphlet and he saw pottery and he was like, would you like to do that? I'm like, sure, why not? I always like to try and say, well, this is my first time doing it, to see if I really like it or not. And I enjoyed it. It was actually this little owl kind of dish where you can put like your jewelry and stuff in it. And so that's how I started actually painting like pottery stuff.
And you also have an interest in video games, correct?
Yes. I really enjoy playing video games. It actually started when I was like really young, like when the GameCube like came out. Like I was really into that. Like I was playing Sonic the Hedgehog. It was this basketball game, and then we kind of moved up to, you know, the PlayStation 2. And then after a while we kind of stopped playing video games. But I was like, I found my mom's like Xbox 360 like in her closet one point, and I was like, she's not using it, but I want to use it. And so I just started playing it, and from there on I'm keeping it up. I started off playing with the Grand Theft Auto series, and then I wanted to branch out into other games, other open world games, because there's only so many games in the Grand Theft Auto series. And so that's when I found out about the Saints Row series, and that has about 5 games. And so I started playing that, and then I got into playing Watch Dogs and Mafia 3, Watch Dogs 2, and as of now I'm playing Sleeping Dogs.
Wow, you definitely know your video games.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and it was a pleasure learning about your different interesting hobbies, and it definitely seems like you're on track to being a well-rounded student for med school.
Thank you for actually having me.
Thank you so much. For more Pioneer Public profiles, visit our website at ppuglobe.com. Thank you.
Connect with the Globe on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at PPU Globe, and always online at ppuglobe.com.